Well, hello to the channel, the show, or whatever you want to call it. Social media. I guess it's a podcast because I set up the podcast section. So you have to have if you want to start a podcast section on YouTube, it's really quite simple. You just got to remember to have a 1280 by 740 slide and under, anyway, under a podcast section, that's how you get it. And you can put anything in the podcast, video podcast, regular podcast. Anyway, like I say, YouTube took from the podcast industry. The podcast industry took from the radio industry. And not in a bad way. I'm not saying that at all. But what really is bad is the fact that I might not be able to show you what I want to show you. So basically, I have to go over. So this video podcast, I have it set up where, well, hold on once. Maybe I'm able to do, let me just bear with me. Like I said, not a lot of people are going to watch this video, if any, but I'm going to make it anyway. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, maybe you aren't. Maybe you can see that right there. I'm not sure. At this point, you might not be able to see. Sure. So I'm just doing a test, basically. And I do apologize. I'm very sorry if you happen to watch in the future. It's one of those things where it kind of, now, I'm afraid I'm not be able to show you that. So, but I might be able to. I'll just probably have to tell you. I'll probably just have to tell you at this point what the 49ers, my prediction for the 49ers of San Francisco. You know, you try to do something, you try to pay for a company, basically you get left in the dark. With all the access to AI, okay. I do apologize, but again, I'll get to the San Francisco 49ers prediction. Well, I got my name up. And what's in bluish or yellow or teal? Orange red. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, got that. You can see that. I'll try one more. Oh, sorry about that. Again, I'm sorry about the whole thing if you happen to. And you probably want to know what I think about San Francisco, the 49ers. Or you probably want me to get to the picks. I'm telling you, this is okay. Okay. I'm pretty confident not many people are going to watch. So if you watch in the future, last week it worked fine. Now this week's not working. Well, but it never fails. You know, it never fails. Technology never fails. It's probably one little thing that I'm doing wrong. And it's like one of those things where, you know, I literally am sharing the screen, but apparently it doesn't share the screen. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Really shouldn't be that hard. You know what? That's good enough, I guess. Yeah. So the San Francisco 49ers and their schedule, their amazing schedule. See if I can do this. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're able to hear me, good. I'm going to try something else. 2025 San Francisco 49ers. Anyway, I'm going to get into it. You know, they open up with at Seattle. You know what? It's going to be hard. I mean, you know, Seattle, you know, good. They got a good quarterback. They got a couple good draft picks. San Francisco's looking to try to rebound. I think they will this year. A lot of people aren't looking for them. They had a bad season, so anything's possible. I say they get beat at Seattle, though. It's hard. It's a hard place to play. They kind of went up there and kind of laid the woodshed a couple times in their Super Bowl runs that they had. But that play in 2019 against Seattle, that was at the end of the regular season. They had a goal line stand, and that was the difference between the 5th seed and the number 1 seed. At New Orleans, they find a way to win a close game, and they win. Then they play Arizona at home, the Cardinals. They win 2-1. Jacksonville 3-1. At the Rams 4-1. At Tampa Bay, I say they lose. I think Tampa Bay is going to be one of the better NFCs. Is probably the best NFC South team. That's what I'll say. 4-2 at this point. Then ATL, Atlanta comes into town. I think last time Atlanta played after San Francisco, Atlanta won. I don't know. It's hard to keep track. Again, they play, year after year. Or they don't play year after year, but sometimes they do, I guess. They beat Atlanta. So at this point, they're 5-2. Then they go at the Texans. I said it's a loss. They're 5-3 at this point. At the New York Giants, I'll say a win. And then the Rams, they find a way to win again. They're 7. You know what? Actually, no, 6-4 at this point. Sorry, you're not going to sweep the Rams, 49ers fans. At Arizona, 6-5. 6-5. Carolina comes into town and they win. They find a way to win against a much improved Carolina team. Look, Carolina's going to be tough. Or at least better anyway. They beat Carolina. So at this point, they're sorry. 7-5. 7-5. Then at Cleveland. And I think was it 22 or 23? They lost to Cleveland on a field goal. But they find a way to beat Cleveland at Cleveland, 24-20 or something like that. 8-5. Tennessee Titans, the hapless Titans. They beat the hapless Titans. They go 9-5 at Indy. They'll find a way to win at Indy, 10-5. Chicago, they beat Chicago, the Bears, 11-5. And then they beat Seattle, go 12-5. Yes, 12-5. I know it's a bold prediction to go 12-5. They were 6-11 last year to go 12-5. And so much so that they win the division and they probably get the 3rd or 4th seed. Playoffs. I might make a playoff if I remember, or I might make a playoff. I might make a prediction about the playoffs for their San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, so let's see. I'm just trying something here. Okay, never mind. It wouldn't let me. But I did get an image file. That's what I probably have to do. Yeah. Anyway, the San Francisco 49ers, they find a way to win. Go 12-5. Look, it's a bold prediction. Will it happen? I don't know. They can go. I don't think they're going to go undefeated, and I don't think they're going to go defeated. So let's just put it that way. A pretty strong possibility that they will win a few and lose a few. That's how it is. And I think the 49ers, I honestly, I don't know the rest of their let's see. The rest of their the rest of their program. Sorry about that. The rest of their try to figure something out and do a live stream at the same time. A live video podcast on this channel at the very same time. And like I said, you know what? They'll be one of those teams. You never know. I think they still got. Well, they do have Purdy, so that's pretty good. And Kyle Shanahan is a good coach, very good coach. Definitely a good play call. He's definitely a good play call guy. I think they still have a decent offensive line. Their defensive line, it's just like I say, when you're trying to, it's everyone's goal to win a championship, and that's what they want to do. And will they do it? That's the $1 million question. Is I just don't know if they're going to be able to do. I mean, I think they will. I just don't know. Though they could get in the playoffs, and it's very tough. It's very tough. The more you get in there, the more anything can happen. But they have just as much chance as anybody else to get to the championship and to win. They always say it's the hardest part is to get to the Super Bowl. Well, the 49ers, it's really not. I mean, it is. They had a couple like the NFC Championship game. They went back-to-back years of being a wild card team and winning the wild card and divisional round, and then playing against NFC teams. Was it 21? It was at the LA. 21/22 was at the Rams. A team they swept, and they just couldn't beat them in the NFC Championship game. The next year, that was 21-22. That's when they upset Green Bay in the divisional round, and then they lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship game. And the next year, they beat Seattle, and then they beat Dallas, and then they got crushed by the Eagles. And the following year, they beat Green Bay in a really close game. They beat Detroit in the NFC Championship game, and then lost to KC in a really bad game. They should have they could have won the game, and they didn't. It's really sad because that's one of the most. I think that was one of the more devastating losses in the last 10, 20, maybe 30 years of football. That doesn't get talked about enough because KC won back-to-back at the time, and it was more talked about KC winning the Super Bowl, and then the 49ers, the heartbreaking loss. Maybe around the Bay Area and in such areas, they had a lot of talk about that, but nationally, it was just more of the Chiefs. The Chiefs won it. The Chiefs, they won it, and they won. How many times do I have to say that? But they won the Super Bowl, the 49 or the Chiefs against the 49ers. And the following year, people probably thought, oh, they're going to get better. They're going to be back, and they're going to win it. Instead, they go 6-11. And I think that was a Super Bowl hangover really hurt them, Super Bowl loss hangover, which is very common. And like I say, different team. I think, I don't know. I think, I don't know. Again, I didn't really see who was on the roster as far as like who's the depth chart or anything. Like I say, I think Brock Purdy's on the team, and I still think they got Juszczyk. I don't know about Deebo Samuel. Like I say, he might. They might. Like I say, I could probably check. And anyway, the 49ers will be one of those teams. I know it's an old cliche. I know it's an old cliche where teams will, or everybody has that equal chance of winning the Super Bowl. But I think the 49ers, a little more pressure is on them. Seattle's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong; they're going to be right at the. And I think that game against Seattle, maybe that's what they're planning. That game, the last game against Seattle, could be a battle for the NFC West. You just never know. I really hope the 49ers have a good season. You know, me being a Broncos fan, I never really liked the 49ers, especially when I was younger. One of my first Super Bowls that I've ever watched was when the 49ers destroyed the Broncos 55-10. And I was, at that time I was young, and I watched the Super Bowl before. I think the first Super Bowl I ever watched was the Giants and Broncos. And I watched bits and pieces of that. When you're really young, you're not going to pay attention as much. And that certainly was the case. I was just watching in and out. And the 49ers, Redskins, I believe I watched. I think I probably watched all the Super Bowls up until, 86, 87. I remember it always being on. But one of my first Super Bowls, again, the 49ers, that was my first Super Bowl I watched the whole game, the 49ers Broncos. Let me tell you something. It was very disappointing. The Broncos just got destroyed that game. But other than that, when you're, and when you're younger, you thought 49ers were indestructible, but around that time, they really were good. And, 30 years later, they're just as well. They're not just as good. They're really good. Like I say, anything can happen. You on paper, I can tell you that they're going to be good. But does that mean it's going to have to actually happen? That's something, you just don't take my word for it. If you're a 49ers fan and you really want them to be successful, well, first of all, you can't get everything you want in life. That's just part of it. And if you are hungry for your team to win the Super Bowl, that's great. But it doesn't always pan out. If you're a 49ers fan and you remember the 49ers heyday, that 94 team was really super good. I think that was probably the second best 49ers team, maybe the third best 49ers team of all time. That 94 team was excellent. They were loaded. They were really good. They had a good defense, offense, special teams. They were an excellent, excellent team. The 89 team was probably good. 84 team was, supposed to be pretty good. 88 team, I think they were like 10-6. And they didn't, like I say, just hold your head up. It could very well happen where they have a successful year, and hey, they're kind of like, at least they're a little better than the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan, you probably don't like Dallas and vice versa. But you're doing good. Your program on the franchise that's on the rise. I think with Kyle Shanahan, he'll raise their Lombardi Trophy. Before it's all said and done, Brock Purdy will have a Super Bowl ring, and and like I say, you never know. And I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not, for your sake. Individuals that are watching this video, if you happen to watch, and like I say, it's one of those things. Every team has a battle every single day. The worst team can beat the best team. It's, again, the cream of the crop of athletes that are head to head. It's fun to watch, and I hope they're allowed to play this year. I hope they don't really, I was glad to see. I'm almost done with this video podcast. I'm almost done this live video podcast, by the way. I just wanted to add my few more closing thoughts. That I was glad to see that the hip drop tackle wasn't really enforced, because I seen some plays where it wasn't really blatantly obvious, but there was some that was borderline, and they let them play. I think at this point, they don't, I hope the NFL doesn't become a flag football. I seen that like last week or the week before where they had the flag football championships. Gosh. I'm sorry, but I just do not want to see that. I hope it doesn't happen. And like I say, Kyle Shanahan will have his squad be better prepared, better focused. I think they were expecting to go back to the playoffs, and I think they'll get focused back where they did play hard. They try to do what they try to get to better to get back to the Super Bowl, but they try or the playoffs first and then the Super Bowl, and they couldn't. And I think they'll be focused more this year. Look, there's a lot of good teams in the NFC. Detroit, Green Bay. I think the NFC North's going to be good. Minnesota. Chicago is not a slouch either, I don't think, because the Pope is from Chicago. No, I kid. Actually, he is from Chicago, but I kid that he's not going to lead the team to the well, obviously. Ben Johnson's leading the team. Like I say, they play tough team. Tough games. NFC South, Tampa Bay. You think the NFC South won't be good, but they could very well be really good. NFC, like I say, NFC East, Eagles. Eagles are tough. Commanders are tough. A lot of good NFC teams on paper, but you just never know. Like I say, it's going to be a fun season, I think. Always is. I just wish they would allow the defenders to, who knows? We'll wait and see. Allow them to play, and I hope they just never get rid of tackle football, because as soon as they stop tackling and you can't, it's just two-hand touch, or basically I am out. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this live video podcast. You all have a great day. And remember, thank you if you happen to watch. All right. Thanks a lot, guys and individuals. Thank you.